Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I trust everyone is safe and well. Welcome to today's Open Classroom. With business beginning to resemble some sort of normality, as of next week, we're going to be changing the Open Classroom format by consolidating our 4 weekly classes into one compact, hard-hitting 15-minute class every Thursday at 2 o'clock, where we'll be covering different modules each week. Each Monday, we will release an agenda of the weekly class, so if you don't wish to view all the modules that Thursday, you will know when to log in. So, still the same weekly content, just wrapped and presented slightly differently. Apologies to all who attended yesterday, as that is now the second time you have heard that announcement. Back to today, where Cameron joins us again to present a Design Centre CAD class, as Christopher is away in East London training. Please remember that all our past webinars can be found on our website on the FAQ page, which is found on the Services pull-down menu. As always, please feel free to use the text chat service on your GoToWebinar floating app to ask us any questions you may have during Cameron's presentation. So, good afternoon again, Cameron, and please take it away.
Thank you very much, Charles. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's session, where we'll be looking at some of the CAD functionality found in the Design Centre Pro. We'll then be looking at layers, XREFs, viewports, dimensions, hatching, selection filters, as well as the expand details functionality. This particular drawing, if I go and right-click over here, is 848 layers. I can go and create groups inside my layers, so let's call it DMP. And then I could go and specify which layers I want in that group. As an example, if I go to the bottom here and go and search for DMP, Civil Designer indicates that I've got 26 layers starting with DMP. Now I can press Shift on my keyboard and select a group of layers. Alternatively, if I go and press Control, I can go and skip layers and then press Shift again, and then go and right-click and select Add to Layer Group. And I can go and add them to the group called DMP. Selecting the DMP group, there's all those layers. I can take it a step further. I can go and right-click here and go and select Add Property Filter, where you could go and specify what filter criteria to use. Let's, for instance, go and call this orange, select the color option, and then go and specify which color you're looking for. In that case, all the layers starting with DMP with the color of orange is in that specific filter. If I want to go and make changes here to the original group, let's say I go and select again using the Shift and the Control options, I can go to the CAD layer, right-click and go and select color 30. And I now have the option of changing just that one layer or all of the selected layers. In this case, I want all the selected layers. If I go back to the orange filter, you can see they have dynamically been updated. If I click on OK and I go back there, you will see that it reverts back to that position. So I don't need to go and search for where I was last working. On the left-hand side here, you can see we don't have any XREF groups. So I'm going to show you how to bring in an XREF. If I go to Tools, go to XREF Manager, go and add an XREF. Let's use this typical details as an example. Remember, you can bring in any type of format. Click on Close. If I go back to my layers, you can see now there's an option of XREF as well as non-XREF layers. If you want to bring that XREF into the drawing, you would go to Insert, External Reference. You could use any scale. Let's go and put in 50 as an example. Click on the green tick, and as I move my cursor, there's the external reference. Now, when I brought in that bitmap, I showed you viewports. I'll show you how to define your own viewports. If I go to View, Viewports, Name Viewports, go and click on Add. Let's go and specify manhole details. And then go and define your region for this viewport. There it is. I'm going to close that. At the bottom, if you want layouts, you can go to Layouts on top. Append layout, you could give it a specific name. Here you could go and specify which drawing settings to use. So as an example, you could change your paper size, portrait or landscape, which scale type to use, and then your paper and drawing units. You also have the option, when you open up a new drawing, to change the coordinate system. If you select the surveyor option, you can go and change the coordinates of your drawing, and then you can also go and specify which angular format to use. When I create this layout here at the bottom, I want to bring in that name viewport. There it is, manual details on the top left-hand side. You can go and specify a scale and which settings to use, and then I'm going to press H for home. That goes to the center of my screen and enter. Right, so there's my layout with my viewport. You can see I'm always able to read the text, irrespective of what scale I used. And that is because of our annotative settings. If I go to settings on top, there's the annotation scales. You can use these standard scales. Alternatively, you can go and add your own scales. And what this means is, if for instance you specify a certain text size, that text size will stay constant irrespective of what drawing scale you use. Just to show you that, if I go and cancel here and I go back to settings, text settings, text styles. Here you can go and create your own text styles. You could import text styles from another drawing. So you go and specify which drawing. It could be a DWG as an example, and it would bring in all the text styles associated with that drawing. Over here, you go and specify what units to use. If you use millimeters, inches, or points, that text size will stay the same. Alternatively, if you do want your text size to change according to your drawing scale, you would go and select drawing units. In a similar manner, you have the options of going to settings. There's the drawing settings that I specified earlier. That is where you'd go and change your drawing coordinates. Still looking at settings, if I go to style settings, there's dimension styles, line styles, multi-line styles, table styles. As an example, let's go and look at line styles. There you can see we've got standard line styles. You can load line styles from a certain library. And here we've got some really impressive line styles that you can go and choose from. Let's say we want wall 2. That would then bring in the wall 2 line style. You can import it from a drawing like I did with the text. Alternatively, you also have the option of creating your own line styles. So here I'm selecting line style editor. Just to show you a quick example, I'm going to load an existing line style library. Select the line style, and there's a preview of what the line style looks like. So looking at this white line over here, that is a positive length. The negative length represents a space, and then here we've got a 0, which represents a dot. If, for instance, you want to change the dot with a text symbol, you can go and customize what you would like displayed. Go and specify your offsets. Right, so there I've just gone and put in, let's say, a fence symbol by creating my own line style. Closing that. Looking at dimensions now. Just to save us time, I'll put in the horizontal and the diametric. So if I go to dimension, linear, horizontal dimension, we're looking at the running option. Here you can go and specify which dimension styles to look at. So your lines, you can go and specify your colors, your thickness, your spacing, your arrows, for instance. You could go and customize how you'd like it displayed. Having done that, reading my prompt, it says indicate the first point. So I go to my CAD drawing, I click on that corner, then I go to the next point. Now, because of this auto spacing option, as I move my cursor up or down, you can see how the text is following my cursor. Once I'm happy with the position, I left click, go to the next corner, left click, next corner, left click. If I'm done, I can go and right click and quit. Then looking at the radial dimensions, if I go back to dimension radial, specify radial, go to where I want the dimension, I left click, it automatically picks up the closest circle, and I'm able to then go and move the dimension to my required spot. Alternatively, let's go and put in the diametric or the diameter instead of the radius. Click on what I want measured and then just move my cursor. Right, so you get the idea as far as dimensions is concerned. Looking at hatch patterns, I'm going to focus in on the more advanced drawings. I go to draw on top, go and select hatch. Take note of my pattern origin. I'm using the default origin. If I go and click on settings, you have predetermined pattern types. Looking at the gradient fill, there's numerous gradient fills that you can go and select from. If you prefer to use the old school patterns, we've got a whole library of patterns to go and choose from. We've got 217 patterns. If you're looking for something in particular, you could go to the library and go and search for, let's say, brick. Specify your pen colors if you want to rotate it and what scale you'd like to use. Click on OK and then select in the draw method. So I'm going to go and select this automatic hatch option, where I simply go inside whatever I want to hatch and left click, and there it goes and draws the hatch. Go to the next section, left click. If I'm done, I can go and right click and accept. Looking at this bottom drawing over here, where we automatically detect the islands, I'm still using the default of origin. If I go to the automatic track-in function, I'm going to switch off track selection and turn on detect islands, where Civil Designer will automatically detect the islands and remove the hatch from the islands. So I go into my rectangle, I left click, and there you can see that it has not hatched the circle, the text, and the rectangles. Also take note that we don't have a full brick on the bottom left-hand side of my hatch. If I'm not happy with that, I can go and right-click, cancel it, and then right-click and go and redefine the boundary. This time I'm changing my pattern origin to bottom left. So in a case like that, first brick, full brick will be on the bottom left-hand side. Then I go and select the automatic function again. This time I'm turning off detect islands and I'm turning on track selection. And with this function, I'm able to select where I don't want the hatch pattern to be. So where I clicked last time on the bottom there. Now look at the first brick on the bottom left, it's a full brick. Then I can go inside my patterns, inside my CAD entities, left click. It would then remove the hatch from the circle, from my text, as well as any other CAD entities that I might have. Right click and accept it. Closing that. And then moving on to selection filters. It may be in a diagram you need to go and select numerous entities. If I select that line and I go to edit, I have the option of selecting the same. So it may be the same type, same layer, same color, etc. Alternatively, you may want something more advanced. You may want to go and select circles with a certain radius. So I go back to edit, I go to select by filter. I'll leave the quick for now. I'll go to the advanced selection set, go and specify I want all circles with a certain radius, and that radius it must be bigger than 1. Click on append. It will then go and populate the filter list. In addition to that, I want a radius smaller than, as an example, 12. Click on append. And at the bottom here, I will apply the filter immediately to the entire drawing. That would then go and select all the circles with the radius bigger than 1, smaller than 12. If I go to the properties there, I could, for instance, with those 24 circles selected, go and change the color. Looking at the next example, it may be that you need a detail, and this could be for anything. It could be for your curves, it could be for manholes. So I want to achieve this detail at a bigger scale, and that is the detail of whatever's inside that circle. So I'm going to go and delete it, go to Tools, select Expand Details. I want a circle, so I click on No. I want to add a circle around the detail, so I click on Yes. Indicate the circle center. Now on the right-hand side here, we've got what we refer to as snap modes. And this will direct your cursor to the correct CAD entity. In this case, I want the center point of this circle. So I go and click on the circle, it automatically goes to the center of that circle. Then I go and change to a different snap mode. Just only zoom in a bit, left click. Now when it gives me this detail, what magnification would I like to use? I'm going to go and make that 3. Click on the green tick. Do I want an arrow joining the two circles? Yes. I'm going to go and call this new layer WSP CAD. So it's then going to create a new CAD layer called WSP CAD. Click on the green tick, go and specify where you want the detail. And there I've got confirmation that a new layer has been created. Let me show you what it looks like. There's the detail, and if I go back to the CAD layers, there's the WSP CAD. And if you look there, we've got a magnification of 3. So you don't always have to use viewports and XREFs. That is unfortunately all the time we have for today. Please let us know if you've got any additional questions. Until next time, back to you, Charles.
Thank you, Cameron. That was great. And thank you to all who attended. Please remember, if you would like any further information with regards to Civil Designer's CAD module, please use the email listed on your screens right now or visit our website. See you all tomorrow at the same time and same place using the same link, where Chris will be back facilitating a water module class. Have a great afternoon and goodbye for now.